Hey everyone, welcome back to La Cocina de Janet. Today we have my very delicious banana bread recipe. It is perfect, it's getting nice and cool, so it's time to turn that oven on and get to baking. Let's get started. Today I'm going to be using 3 fairly ripe bananas. They could go another day or two, but I kind of like them like this, not overly ripened, but ripe enough where we can smash them very easily with no problem. So I'm putting these 3 in a wide enough container so that I can get in there with a fork and be able to smash them comfortably without leaving any huge chunks. So once we've done that, I'm going to take the back of a fork and I am just going to go in there and look at how easily these are smashing. That means they are ripe enough to use for banana bread. So if you've got extra bananas and you just don't like to eat them like this, too ripe because they're soft, make banana bread. My kids love it. Love it. And so does the hubby. He tries to only eat one piece because it's just too good. Could probably eat the whole loaf. We all can. Moving right along, I'm going to set those smashed bananas to the side and I'm going to get started on my actual bread mixture. I have butter, I have sugar, all measurements. Full recipe will be in the description bar below so that you guys have that for future reference. So I've got my butter in here, I've got my sugar. I'm going to go ahead and give this a quick whisk just to incorporate and cream those together. It'll just make it easier once we start adding the rest of our ingredients. So do this for a good 30-45 seconds until you can tell that it's nice and creamed together. Just like that. Now, your eggs, you want to have these at room temperature. So pull them out a couple of hours before you plan on making your bread. And here we are. We've got 2 whole eggs. Also, make sure that you pull out your butter. Butter has to be at room temperature as well. I forgot to mention that here a few seconds ago when you guys saw me whisk it. So I have my 2 room temperature eggs now added to my room temperature butter and sugar. Cream those in just enough to incorporate. Now I'm going in with my vanilla extract and my buttermilk. Let's go ahead and combine these ingredients as well. This is the perfect time to add your bananas. Now you can see they're still a bit chunky. That's totally okay because you're going to whisk this into the rest of the ingredients, so that's going to end up mashing them up even more, just like this. So let's go ahead and incorporate. Like I said, don't go too wild and crazy. No need to whisk this forever, just enough to get everything mixed in. And this is looking really good. So there you are. These are all of our wet ingredients. Now we're going to go ahead and get started with our dry ingredients. I know it doesn't look appetizing. It's that buttermilk that kind of makes it look a little clumpy, but believe me, it'll work. So the thing that I like to do with my dry ingredients is I like to mix everything dry mixed in together before I put it into my wet ingredients. And I also like to sift everything. That just removes any big clumps. You know, sometimes your flour, if you don't use it often, it can get a little clumpy or settle at the bottom of the bag. So this helps remove any clumps and it just makes that mixture nice and fluffy, and it also combines all of the ingredients. And like I said, you did see me add some salt, some baking powder. All of that will be in the description with exact measurements. So now I am going to slowly incorporate the dry into the wet. You can see I poured it all in there and I'm slowly incorporating it just like this. You can use your whisk to do this. Actually, I probably should have. It would have been a little less time consuming, but hey. I had the little spatula right next to me, so I was like, hey, let me just incorporate it this way, and that works just as well For future reference, I do recommend you using the whisk. It'll just make sure that there's no flour pockets or anything like that. You can see the flour pockets there. So I had to kind of put some elbow grease in here because I don't know. I don't know why I didn't use my whisk. So use your whisk for this portion as well. It'll just make your life easier, trust. All right, now this is the fun part. You can bake your banana bread just like that, or you can add chocolate chips. You can also add walnuts. Sometimes I do just chocolate chips. Sometimes I do chocolate and walnut. Honestly, it just depends on what I have in my pantry and what I want this particular loaf of bread to have. So today I just added some chocolate chip morsels in there, and it was perfection because chocolate just makes everything better, right? Right. I am going to use a Wilton bread loaf pan, and I am going to butter the inside. So this stick of butter is not room temperature. I just took it out of the fridge so that I can kind of mash it in there really, really well. And I want to coat the inside, all of the little corners and crevices, because you don't want your bread to stick to the loaf pan. It will just not come out of the pan, and it'll pretty much ruin your loaf bread. It won't look pretty. So be extremely generous with the butter and make sure you get it everywhere. So what I like to do is I like to kind of do a thick layer, and then I'll go in there with my finger and kind of get it all in the corners that actual stick of butter didn't reach. That way we have no issues getting our loaf of bread out once it's fully baked. You can see we're nice and buttered up. Now I'm going to add the mixture right in there. Now this recipe that I am sharing with you guys makes one full loaf of banana bread. So if you plan on making more than one, just go ahead and double all of the ingredients and you can make 2 loaves. But I usually only make 1 loaf if I'm keeping it for the house because it's just so good. We literally eat it that same day. Now I'm just tapping it a little bit to remove any extra air bubbles. Now we are ready to bake. So let's go ahead and get our oven going. I already have it preset at 350 degrees and it has just reached that. So now it's nice and preheated. My loaf of bread is going to go right in the center of that on the top rack. And here we have our very delicious banana bread. I did bake this for about an hour and then checked it with a knife to make sure that the center is fully baked. Once it is, you are ready to pull it out completely. Now it's been cooling for a couple of minutes, and as soon as I am able to touch the pan without burning myself, I like to go in there and wiggle it just like this. This helps separate it from the pan. And I'm just gonna let it sit here and cool completely, almost completely. I do like to eat my banana bread warm because the chocolate is ooey and gooey. So as soon as it's cooled down enough for you to slice it, then I recommend you slice it. If you don't plan on eating it that day, wrap it in saran wrap and then in foil, and then the next day it'll be just as delicious. But like I said, my family loves my banana bread, so I went ahead and cut it up as soon as it was cool enough to slice and eat. And look at how beautiful and moist and delicious this is. I do like to use a bread knife, a bread serrated knife. That just helps not mush up the bread because it is pretty moist. You can end up mushing it down depending on what kind of knife you use, so I do recommend a bread knife for this. I'm showing you here how it's serrated, and that's what it's called, a bread knife. Look at how beautiful this banana bread turned out. It is so moist, you guys. It's not even funny. Look at this. It's fluffy. It's squishy. It's chocolatey. It's delicious. It's amazing. Okay, don't take my word for it. Give this recipe a try. I am pretty sure that you will love it, and so will your family. It does last a couple of days. If you wrap it and put it in an airtight container, you can eat it for the next couple of days with your cup of coffee. But if you are me and my family, it'll last maybe that evening. Possibly you may get one slice the next morning. But look at how beautiful this is. It is so soft and moist. It's just ridiculous. This is like the best recipe ever. So I've been making this bread for a long time now, and it is a hit. So I hope that you guys try it. I hope that you guys enjoy it. Look at this. It's falling apart. So good. Be sure to let me know in the comments below if you plan on trying my recipe, or if you already have, what you think about it. And I hope that you enjoy it. Yum. So thanks again for watching, guys, and I hope to see you in my next video. Get to baking. Fall season is here. Make you a little banana bread, and then thank me later in the comments below. Make sure you share this recipe. Hit that share button so that all of your friends on YouTube can watch the recipe and make it for their family as well. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.